I understand that you, Mother of George, kind of began its life. Did you workshop this idea at Sundance?
Yes. Actually, the script came to me through the writer, which is a playwright, Darcy Pico, and somehow it got to me, and I read it, and I just thought it was a great story. And it was obviously it was set somewhere else, it was a different culture, and I thought. So when I met her, I just really liked the universality of the story, because there's this woman in Brooklyn that wrote about this incident, and after that we met, and then we went to the Sundance workshop. Yeah, we workshopped it as the screenwriters lab, and later on we went back for the directors lab.
So in the process of kind of working on the script and refining it, were you kind of exploring how you could better express the theme or the character's journey?
Oh, totally. I mean, for me, it was very important that we relate to it. That it wasn't the story of the other, you know. It wasn't that story. It wasn't the other. It was really something personal that we can relate to, and how do we explore that? Like I said, it was a different. For example, it was set among a different culture. Many things changed by exploring it, by workshopping it. We changed so many things. Things we needed, things we don't really need, things we felt that it was too much. It was exhibiting too much. So all these things was very important. And how do you do something like that doesn't become melodramatic? And that you're really, you really want the people to feel the pain and suspense. So it was really refining that, finding that. And for me, as a filmmaker, first and foremost, it's all about images. How do I create this world that you want to be, you're curious to know about that culture. You're curious to know about it. It's people, it's not didactic. It's not what you expect. So that was for me the beauty of really workshopping it and fine tuning it.
Was there? I'm fascinated by this because I know it's a struggle to stay true to your lead character, the one that Denai plays. But she makes some difficult choices in this movie. Was there always a concern of, are we going to lose an audience's empathy for this character?
Well, for me, it was never the choice, because I needed to be truthful to it, and I think that for me was felt true. It felt organic, felt true, and I think that's what matters. If for me it was about. For me, it's not about the audience. It's about, am I being truthful to the story? Am I being truthful to myself? And by doing that, I'll get the audience. There's no recipe on how to get audience. If there was, every Hollywood films would be a box office every weekend. And that's not my part, That's for me, that's not my part. I didn't get into filmmaking to do that. I got into filmmaking to tell stories and to be truthful to myself as an artist. So for me, it's that challenge. It's those acts, those magnificent, those unique acts, human acts that create extraordinary pictures. And I wanted to depict that.
And also the view of New York City and Brooklyn as seen through the eyes of this community, which is such an important part of this movie. How did you create that, and how did you know that you were being true to that world?
It's interesting because I grew up. I've been living in New York now for the last 2 decades, so this is home for me. And what I love about this city is its multiculturalism and how every culture seems to have its own oasis in this metropolis. You know, you go to Queens and there's East Indian community, and you can walk blocks and blocks, and it's like just East Indians. So you go to another part of Queens, and it's like you felt like you're in Bogota, Colombia. You know, you go to Crown Heights, and you could be in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. And I like that. You know, and especially growing up, that's not the New York I saw in cinema. And I really wanted to show this New York, because that's New York I know. When I think of New York, I think about that. I think about, you know, the streets of Flatbush or the streets of Crown Heights and the community that exists and their world. And I wanted the world to see the New York I knew. And I wanted, and for me as well, it's a dialogue thing, you know. There's so much, like I said, there's so much culture in the city that, you know, I feel like we don't exploit it enough, and I feel like, you know, next time you get into a taxi and, you know, the driver is a Balkan, you know, it's from the Balkans, you know, strike a conversation. You never know. There might be a nice, you know, restaurant around the corner from where you live. You never knew, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really that dialogue for me. It's a dialogue with the city.
Well, and that's what's so great about New York City is that it's so diverse, and there seems like there's a place for everyone. I mean,
and I think people don't notice that. You know, there's so much of that in this city that, you know, it's fascinating to me. You know, like I said, you know, going somewhere in Brooklyn or in the Queens or somewhere, and it's like, you know, a whole community and diversity, and you feel, you know, that's the closest to that land you'll ever be, and it's so around the corner from you.
You know, but this is a big conflict in the movie. Is how do you kind of fit in and create your world in a new home in New York City or Brooklyn, but and yet maintain your roots and still have a close tie to your roots and where you came from? Is that a struggle that you faced in your own life?
Me personally, no, but I actually think one answer I've experienced by really investigating this, that a lot of these communities, you know, a lot of you actually, that's why they stay in this community. That's why this community. That's why there's this. There seem to actually more people here long or more truthful or long, you know, to their own culture than they will be if they were in those countries sometimes. You know, and that's why I realize, you know, people in Nigeria don't really necessarily think Nigerian, you know, they're just leaving, you know, while people, but I'm sure Nigerians in New York, you know, think very, you know, constantly about maintaining, staying connected to their culture. So it's really kind of paradoxical in a way, you know.
Yeah.
I know because it's like absence make the heart grow fonder, that kind of thing. You know?
Yes. Yeah. I know that you worked on this for many years, something like three years.
Yeah.
You know, and it fascinates me that you work on something for so long, and then you finally are able to shoot your movie. And, you know, 3 years of preparation, and you're given something like, 3 weeks to shoot it. Does that feel? Does it feel constrictive? Are you able to allow accidents to happen when you're shooting, and to be surprised in the process?
Yes. Definitely constraining, because obviously, like you said, you work on something for so long, and if I'm given 2 months to shoot, will I take it? Hell yeah. If I can be like Malik and shoot over 6 months. But it is what it is. And I think, but as far as accidents happening, I guess because I'm a photographer, that's the only way I can work. I don't premeditate things. I really work on instincts. And I've really built a relationship with my instinct that we're in tune. So I really base everything on that. It's really about instincts. It's really about how I feel at that moment. So yes, I let accidents happen very much. I create those situations because that's the only way I'm going to get the magic of cinema. It's not by it being didactic. It's really about, how do you create this magic? And I try to put myself in that space.